the neutral zone in 1 minute, Jen.
Stand by. Approaching neutral zone.
I'm getting something on the distress channel.
May I remind the captain that the starship enters the zone. Now entering the neutral zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Your host, Josh Wagner, as always, with John Ondo. John, welcome to the Neutral Zone. How's it going?
It's going well, Josh. How are you doing?
Well, I'm all right. I was worried about those Klingons we passed on the way in, but they were busy drinking blood wine and eating targs or whatever they do.
Those Klingons. We won't see them for a while on Discovery, I don't think. I think they're going to be gone
so
for a little bit.
So, we've had a couple episodes. Our last couple episodes were about, season 2 of Discovery coming up. We did 2 episodes on that. We did an episode of Picard, the series there. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things we sort of want to we talked about this is kind of a golden age of Star Trek again, because there's so many things coming. The last few years we've seen movies. We have a new series. There's all sorts of things coming out. There's rumors of an animated series coming back again. There's going to be some shorts. We got a season 2 of Discovery coming. We had 3 J.J. Abrams movies, and maybe how you feel about that. But there's so many things.
I think there was 2.5 movies.
I would say that one of the highlights for me was also the Axanar documentary that they did. I know they didn't get to finish Axanar, but that documentary thing they did was really well done. It was really fantastic. And of course, there's Star Trek Continues as well on YouTube, which they did a great job with. So lots of great things in the last 10 years.
So
it feels somewhat like a vacuum because it's been so long since Enterprise went off. But when you really consider it, since 2009, we've really had a lot of great things happening. So one of the things that we were kind of thinking about is as there's all these things are coming up, and as we're recording this, there's all sorts of things coming up, but there's also rumors that there's problems with the movie Star Trek 4, that Chris Pine's dropping out, the Chris Hemsworth is dropping out, Zachary Quinto's dropping out. Is Tarantino going to direct it? Or is he going to do one? Blah blah blah. All these sorts of problems with the movies, and one of the things I think we want to talk about is Star Trek better as a movie, or is it better as a series? Does it do well in both, or does it belong in one camp or the other? Now, I know what my opinion is. What's your opinion on this? And I'll share mine after you share yours.
Well, it certainly is. It's the culture has changed, and we were so excited. From this little low budget TV show becoming a movie in '79, and it wasn't, to me, it was not one of the strongest movies, but from a special effect soundtrack standpoint, it was great. But finally, they got there when they got Nicholas Meyer involved in Star Trek 2 and 3. The went different, but that was 36, 37, 38 years ago. We don't live in that culture anymore, Josh. We live in a culture that I want my shows now. The Star Wars folks and the Lord of the Rings folks, they like a new book coming out every 3 or 4 years, but the Star Trek fan base, I believe, we want new stuff every year. This is what the show is. So I think personally about the movies and where they're at right now, stick a fork in them. They're done. I don't think we're going to see any more movies. I think Paramount, that last movie, I was not a fan of Beyond at all. I thought it was poorly written. I thought it was a poor example of Star Trek with what they had done in the previous. I still think Into Darkness was a beautiful tip of the hat to the original Star Trek. The 2009 was great. But we're at the point now, and here's the thing. What I love about Discovery is I see that new Enterprise that looks like the original Enterprise. And I look at the one that they have in the movies that JJ did. It's not a bad-looking ship. And I look at the bridge, and it's made me realize, Discovery has made me realize that this is not the Star Trek I really was used to. It's a dolled up, pretty motion picture Star Trek. I really like what the production designers have done on Discovery. I like the Enterprise that they've come up with for the new season. So I personally think if somebody said there's going to be never another Star Trek movie, I'd say fine with me. I'm more than satisfied with what they're doing.
I would really agree with that. Star Trek is a series, and we know why they made the movies, because Star Wars did such gangbusters in '78 that they wanted to get on that train. And I don't blame them. That's a money train. I mean, that's good. And it looked great. I'll watch 10 minutes of the motion picture, but I won't watch more because it's boring as crap. But,
well,
I mean,
and analyze what Star Wars is, Josh. Star Wars
it's an
is
epic.
basically it's a Darth Vader in the big Death Star against the rebels, or I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but it's like that's what every movie is. Where Star Trek, it's you're on a planet and there's these guys and there's a doomsday machine.
I think it's more than that. I think that I think the difference in the genre is that you have this sort of giant story arc that goes on in Star Wars, in the first three.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that Star Trek is a better series because these are people you want to spend time with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to spend time with Darth Vader outside of seeing what he's doing. I don't want to spend time with Han Solo as he's scratching Chewbacca. I don't know what that means exactly, but I want to spend time with Kirk. I want to spend time with Picard, and that's exactly what you get with a series. Is you get deeper and deeper into the characterization, and I think that is really the strength. I mean, Star Trek V is a total flop, and it's a crappy movie, but
throw it away.
I love that scene where they're sitting around toasting marshmallows. I know he says marshmallows. It drives me nuts that he says it, but it's a great scene. Even though the rest of the movie's a turd, it's a great scene where they're kind of, they're buddies, and there's this great characterization that you come to. And so here's the real problem with the movies. First of all, as you mentioned, they're years apart.
Yeah.
Second of all, if a movie's crap, that means that you got 4 more years to the next movie comes if they do another one. A lot of people didn't like Nemesis, and Nemesis killed the franchise, killed TNG.
And make the mistake.
If you have
the studios don't care. The studios don't care how much you want another movie. If you only did $300 million in Beyond, and then Into Darkness only did 400, it was not a great run for that one either. The studios don't care how much you want another movie.
Well,
You're not getting another movie.
My point is that if you have a bad episode, you only have to wait a week until it's redeemed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I remember, the third season of TNG. I'm a TNG guy, but or like the original. We can go to the original series too. You'd have like a really awesome episode, and then you have this really kind of weird episode, and then if you didn't like that one, you just had to wait a week, and then it redeemed itself, and you got to still spend time with people, and it wasn't always perfect, but it could redeem itself very quickly. Like, let's go back to Star Trek V. Star Trek V was what, 89 or something like that, and it was a total turd, just awful. And I remember walking out of the theater going, what was that all about?
Oh, I remember sitting as the credits ran thinking, Shatner, you should never, ever do a film again.
Right, and then we had to wait until 1992, another 4 years to get Star Trek VI that redeemed it. So whereas if you have a silly episode like in TNG where Tasha Yar gets killed by the slime monster, it's a stupid episode. Just a few episodes later you get you get a great, I can't think of a first season episode that's awesome, but you get my point.
Well,
the third season I think third season's a really good example of that. Third season of TNG where you had some really awesome episodes and some really junky ones. Or like first season TNG, like she gets killed by the slime monster, but then you get Conspiracy 2 episodes later. So I just think something was coming up. You don't have the anticipation and the disappointment with the series, and also you get deeper into the characterization. They become part of your family. Whereas Luke and Leia and all of them, I liked visiting them, but I can only visit them once every couple of years. Star Trek I can go back to all the time.
Did you ever really want to hang out with Luke Skywalker, or would you rather hung out with Kirk and Spock and McCoy?
Yeah, those guys are interesting. I mean,
it's just it just seems like these other people have so much trouble now. Now they're good; they're all good franchises, but I think the point of it is Star Trek does better in television, and on top of it, and let's get back to the economics of this. It is cheaper to do a film. It's cheaper to do a television series than it is to do a film. This I don't know what their budget is, but it's nowhere touching a motion picture budget, and this is the reason Star Trek 4 could be in the trash can. There was press releases that Star Trek was going to have its first female motion picture director. That could be down the drain now because, as you mentioned, both Chris's, Pine and Hemsworth, is that his name is pronounced?
Yeah.
Thor. They're out of it. Why? Contract issues. They want more money, and when you're talking about millions and millions of dollars to pay Chris Pine to be Kirk again, well, I could spend millions of dollars on 2 or 3 episodes of the CBS series, and I'm going to get the hits. I got the sponsors. I'm getting subscriptions.
Right.
It's a win-win. Where a movie right now, you're not really getting that much out of it. If you don't get the box office sales, then you're just down to renting it. It's on Netflix and it's done. So movies are not as economical as they used to be. And here was the other thing too, to use the Star Wars analogy. This was bizarre. The whatchamacallit movie came out in May with not Skywalker, Han Solo.
Oh, Han
yeah,
Solo,
the Solo
yeah.
movie. And it came out and bombed. Everybody told me the same. Yeah, everybody told me the same thing. It was a good movie, but this was what's interesting. So many people said it came out too soon after the last Star Wars, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. As a Star Trek fan, I am pulling my hair out that we've got to wait till January for Discovery Season 2. So it's a different world that we live in, and I think CBS and Paramount are beginning to realize we can make more money. We can do better. We can do better stories and do it as a TV series that streams, and we can do all these side stories.
Plus, you're not putting all that pressure on one thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, Star Trek V was a total turd, and you had to wait 3 more years for redemption. There was a couple junky episodes of Discovery that weren't as good as the others, like the 38-minute episode, but they redeemed themselves the next week. Well, John, let's wrap up here, but we're going to talk about. We're going to go back and talk about a little bit more about Discovery Season 2 and one more kind of interesting theory that you have about it, all right?
The takeaway here is don't ever watch Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Don't ever watch it.
What is up with Cybok's hair? It keeps changing length. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Check us out, neutralzonechat.com. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, AOL. We'll see you guys later.
Under the neutral zone in 1 minute.
Stand by.
Approaching neutral zone.
I'm getting something on the distress channel.
May I remind Captain, the starship emphasis over. Now entering the neutral zone.